Does it?
Yeah, it starts. So, and
Oh,
everybody.
you're live. It says you're live. Yeah.
Hey, Tom, how are you going? We're obviously live.
No. It says going live over here in a minute, but up on the screen, I think we're ready almost. Oh, there we are.
Nina, can you tell us if all of a sudden we're talking on the screen?
I've got it.
What's that?
I've got it.
Okay, Tom, we are actually live.
Oh, we're live. Hello.
So welcome everybody to Do Business Better. So today we're going to have a chat with Tom Freer. We're going to have a bit of a chat. What we're trying to do with these shows, being the very first one, Tom, well, secretly it's the second, but we won't tell them.
I think. Let's not go there.
So secretly this is the second version of this show because Tom and I had a practice run earlier that we didn't realize was a practice run, but now what we're doing is trying to help you guys with your businesses. So I'm just going to run through a couple of quick little things. We're going to find out a bit about Tom, why he started his business, and find out some awesome tips about IT that Tom can provide for you. So Tom, why did you get into business in the first place? In fact, who are you? That'd be a better place to start.
Hello, I am Tom. Tom Freer is my name, and I run a IT services business called Wintech. So we're based here in Brisbane, and we just do we do outsourced IT support for small and mid-sized businesses.
Fantastic. And that covers a fairly broad spectrum. So we'll get into a little bit more. You've got several different businesses, in fact, haven't you? So you've got Wintech, you've got your, what are the other ones called?
The other one is Sharify. So we've got a Sharify business, which effectively what it does is provides training and support for all things Office 365 and SharePoint. So
cool.
Helping businesses get better value out of their Office licensing.
And do you still have your Sonar thing floating around?
No, we collapsed that into Wintech, so it was sort of one of the same. So we went through a bit of a restructure a couple of years back and just brought that all in under the one banner.
See, for a second there, I thought you were a true tech entrepreneur and you'd actually sold something off. But at the moment,
not yet. One day, we'll get there.
Awesome. So, Tom, first thing, tell me, why did you get into your own business in the first place?
Look, I started Wintech 9 years ago, and I've always been in IT. And I think the reason I started it, and probably similar to a lot of people, was I just wanted more time and flexibility. So I don't want to be controlled by the man. I wanted to be the man. But look, 9 years later, I don't know how much free time I don't know how much extra free time I actually have. I do have a little bit more flexibility, but the life of small business.
Look, it is, but it doesn't have to be. And as you said, we said earlier, obviously working on strategies towards that, and we'll keep going with that. So, one thing what's one saying or one thing that helps you keep moving your business forward?
I think the one that's helped me keep the business going is knowing my number. And if I expand on that, I think when I first started business, it was all about just being a little bit more flexible and free and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know, kind of what are you aiming for? So a mentor of mine, at one point we sort of came up with, well, what is it? What's the number that's going to allow you to do what you need to do, both professionally, personally, with family, all that sort of stuff. And that's been really good to get clarity around that. So knowing what that number is, that the number that I need to do what I want to do.
Cool. And it really doesn't matter whether that number is 50 grand or $500,000 or $5 million.
No, it's
knowing the number actually does so much towards helping you get there. Yeah.
Yep. And it allows you to then design your business around that. So you might only need, I don't know, let's say it's $100,000. That might be your number, $100,000 a year, and you're sweet and happy. Well, you might only need a $750,000 business, whatever Absolutely. That is. I mean, if your number's 10 million, then you're going to need a lot bigger business. But once you know that, then you've got something to work for and structure.
It's also really important to know, adding to that, it's important to know, are you trying to create an asset that you can sell to someone, or are you happy creating your asset in building assets from as you would as if you were an employee of someone else, and you're happy to close your business down at the end of the day?
Look, and that's again, it is a personal decision and choice around that, but being able to have a business that can allow you to make those decisions is probably key. And that's one thing that I've sort of worked on and continue to work on is, well, build the business so it becomes an asset, or at least it can produce cash to invest in other assets and things like that. So, yeah, and knowing what that looks like makes a big difference.
Absolutely, because a business that isn't producing cash really isn't worth much at the end of the day anyway. So
No, that's right.
I'm sure we'll talk about this with other people further down the track. But for you, do you have a mantra? Like I always say, love your business, love your life, because I think it's really important that business being such a big part of your life, that loving your business so that you can design the life and lifestyle that you want, really, really important. But there's no point being miserable in it and doing that. But for you, what do you have a mantra that you go by?
I don't think I've got a mantra as such, but it's more knowing why I do it. So, which is family. So, so in those tough times, or business tough times and things like that, it's really knowing why I'm doing it. For personally, so having that personal why is really critical. But also, I think it makes it easier having a why for the business as well, as to why is the business doing what it's doing, and that makes it easier to get up, and if you know what that is, you can just keep working towards it, and your team can work towards it.
Absolutely. So what's the why for Wintech?
The why for Wintech is, and all the businesses, or the two businesses that I run, really the why is around making IT stress-free. So it's quite simple to say, not as easy to deliver, but that's why we do what we do.
Cool. The why for Wintech. It sounds like you've got a speech impediment, but we won't go into that. Obviously, one of the big challenges as a small business owner is overcoming adversity, and we all do that. And whether you want to call it grit or persistence or stubbornness or whatever else, we've all been through some of those tough times and stuff. Give us one example of a time where you've had to really step up and push through and overcome some challenging situations.
Yeah, there's been a few. I think one that comes to mind was sort of probably 3 years or 4 years ago, where we'd secured quite a significant contract, massive contract really, little bit outside of what we traditionally did, but that process, whilst exciting, almost sent us broke 3 times from a cash flow management. We were highly profitable but had no cash. So it's very much an accounting challenge. But that in itself, there's a lot of sleepless nights involved when that happens. So, but getting through that and knowing, I suppose, learnings through that, strategies how to better manage that's been key outcome. But yeah, that's probably the toughest times where there was, how are we going to get paid tomorrow?
So growing fast, and growth, is exciting, but it isn't always instantly beneficial. And so that's what you've got to look for, is making sure that you've got profitable growth, or you've got strategies to ensure that it's not draining your cash resources, so that you've got that.
Yeah, that's right.
And the important thing is to put them in place early, because at the time when you need it, that's not the time when everybody wants to help.
Yeah, that's right. So, yep. So been there, but look, yeah, and that's been it. So since then, obviously, lots of different strategies around how to manage that, and little things in place that help. But yeah, no, look, but growth is still good. So we're still heading in an upwards trajectory. So that's good.
You've just slowed down a bit there, Tom. I'm not sure whether it's my connection or yours.
No, we're back. We're good. I can hear you all right.
Back? Yep, that's okay. So, great. Then I can blame you for being your connection. You're the IT guy. Of course, it's your connection.
Streaming YouTube in the background. That's the problem.
We won't talk too much about what's going on. A topical tip. So let's talk about the overnight. The Prime Minister's getting up and going, "Hey, we're going to confess. Our website, our data has been breached. We also know that the Labor Party and the National Party have also been breached, and this data breach, it's a real common problem, and yet it's something that people take so flippantly." So talk to me about your experience of that, and what we're leading to is, I want some tips. I want something I can take away today, that because I'm a selfish guy, hopefully if I can take stuff away, so can other people. So
no, that's fair enough. Look, the data protection is massive at the moment, and not only for big business but all businesses. So look, I think the technical threshold is $3 million is where you need to be, but reality is any business that's holding a client's personal information need to ensure they're protecting it, even if you're not going to get fined potentially, but reputational damage for any business would be horrific. So it's a new man. I mean, that came out in February 2018, I think, was the changes around there. But effectively what it is, it means if you've got personal information, date of birth, tax file numbers, whatever it is, public, personable identification details, then you've got to protect that. And if you don't protect it, you've got to notify someone about it, being the government and also your clients. So you'll see a lot more of this, I think, as you saw the government have come out admitting that they've been breached. Now, how they've been breached, look, we may never actually know, but chances are it's probably something simple, because most of the time it is. So it's about just understanding what data you have, where is it in your business, and how you need to protect that data and what you can do to do that. So we can touch on some of those examples if you want, Kevin, so you've got some takeaways.
So, yeah, so what are you talking, what's your number one, what's the very first thing that we should do to make sure that we're going to minimise the likelihood of crap happening?
So I think the number one thing to do is better protect your email. So when I say better protect your email, it's better protect your login to your email, and it's really to implement what we call multi-factor authentication. And what that essentially is it's just an extra piece of data that you need to input when you log into your email system.
Cool.
So yeah.
So on the main thing, so on Office 365 and Google, it's pretty easy to find that stuff?
Yeah. So it's included in both of those. So if you're using either of those, you can go into your settings and your user account. There should be an option to enable multi-factor authentication, and you'll put in either your mobile number or you'll download a little app onto your phone. And next time you log into your email, it will ask you for your username and your password, but it'll also ask you for a code that you've got to enter from that second, either from the SMS you got sent or from the app on your phone. So what that basically means is you lose your details.
I've always thought those things were just a really big, way that somebody wanted to waste my time. But apparently not. You're telling me that there's stuff that's important to do. So
no, definitely. Yeah, definitely not a time waster. It's a little bit frustrating at times if you're really, really rushing to get into your email, but I can tell you it's better than some of the things we've seen where people's email does get compromised and they lose access and they get scammed and all sorts of stuff. So it's a really big challenge at the moment.
Yeah, getting scammed is not my top priority. So what's your second tip? So one is double factor authentication or whatever it was.
Double factor authentication. Yep. Another tip is really, so it's doing the standard things like making sure you've got antivirus software on your machine. You're doing your Windows updates. Well, let's just clarify on that. It's updates to any of it, whether it's Apple or Windows or your phone or your Android. They're all vulnerable.
So somebody once told me years ago that, you shouldn't take the update as soon as it comes because what if it's got faults in it and blah, blah, blah. That's bad advice, hey, from what you just said.
Yeah, look, there's generally two types of updates. There's security and critical updates, which they release generally every month, but sometimes earlier. And then there's feature updates. They're the ones that you don't necessarily need to do straight away, but always the critical and security updates. And look, that can be a challenge as your business grows and you've got more machines and devices floating around, but you've got to be able to do that because that's where things go wrong.
Cool. Now, second, in fact, that's really related. So Nina Hazel, who works here, actually said, how does Apple MacBook Pros, there's always been this long-held belief that, hey, I've got a Mac, I'm okay, nobody's targeting me.
Nah, they're definitely targeting. It's just that there's not as many of them, so it's not as prevalent. But Apple, Android, they all have security updates that come out, so it's making sure you're keeping those things updated. Viruses, not so much on your mobile. I still haven't really seen any around that, so I wouldn't be too concerned. But definitely antivirus software on those machines is a must. We've seen instances of ransomware on Apples and stuff like that now, so.
Cool. Is there a third tip you got?
Yeah, if you did nothing else, it's education. So what I mean by that is if you need to educate yourself on what to look for. More so, you also need to educate your team on what to look for, mainly around email. And that's where we see probably 90+% of virus or phishing or scams occur is within email. So it's educating and constantly, not constantly, but at least keeping vigilance around what you're doing in your email and what you're clicking. I use the term is treat email like you would a knock on your front door at 3 a.m. So you'd be pretty sus. So you kind of need to look at email.
Yeah.
You kind of need to look at email in that way as well.
So every single email we should treat like that.
If you look, you'll get emails, and I'm pretty sure you get a lot of rubbish email. Guaranteed, you get stuff. So some of it you'll know straight away. You didn't order the Viagra, so pretty sure that's not legit. You can delete that one. But it's things like, do you actually have your power with Energex? Why am I receiving an Energex bill? Think about it. Like, you look at a bill, an invoice that comes in. What do? First thing you want to do is open it, but you got to actually think about what you're opening there, because if you don't have power with Energex,
I have no power bills. It's awesome for all those phone calls.
Oh well, that'll solve half the problems.
That's a goal.
But that's what it is. Be vigilant. Look at what you're opening.
Absolutely, thank you. And a smart way to stop spam emails from filling up your inbox, Dave Meikle has asked us.
Yeah, so look, Google and Office have basic levels of protection in there, and they'll move stuff into junk mail and things like that, but they're not bulletproof. We recommend and use for all our clients is like an external dedicated spam and antivirus solution. So it actually stops that stuff getting to your mailbox in the first place. And it removes a lot of the phishing style emails and dodgy invoices from those, what we call brand jacked emails, where they're been hijacked. It stops a lot of that. So getting a good anti-spam solution in front of your emails, the only way to really reduce that. You're never going to stop it. You can only reduce it.
Cool. No, they're three really cool tips. So, so the first one was, whatever we talked about first.
What are we? Multi-factor authentication.
Multi-factor authentication.
Keeping your systems updated.
Keep your systems updated. And then spam jack.
Education. No, we missed education. Education.
Make sure you're on top of stuff, which is absolutely awesome. What's one business tip that you find that you're giving clients time and time again that you wish you didn't have to say all the time? Just while we've got everyone here.
What's one tip? Take security seriously. Take security of your IT system seriously. It's one of the biggest challenges for any business, but it's also one of the things that's sort of put to the side because it's seen as too hard. It's not too hard when you've lost a pile of money because you've been scammed. And chances are it's going to be less expensive to do it up front than it would be to try and recover from that event. So, actually look at it seriously.
And making sure you've got appropriate backups and all that sort of stuff as well.
All that sort of stuff. There's a whole ream of things that you need to do.
Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure. Look, Tom is an all-round great guy. WinTech, they look after their clients really well. Stress-free IT is what they're about. If you want to find out more about that, definitely talk to Tom. You've actually got a show, Tom Talks Tech.
The Ask Tom Tech show. There's a whole lot of episodes up there on YouTube at the moment, and we'll be recording that again this year. So it's good. We'll just answer technical questions and stuff.
That's okay. I'll let you get away with that. So, look, thanks very much for coming along today and helping us do business better.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks for your time.
See you, everyone. Bye.